Python.
Right. Yes. In fact, I have also taught in Indraprasth College for Women.
You've written, okay.
Yes.
So we have Professor Yamni and Sunil from Department of Business Economics. They're also joined. So Sheher is
Hi,
Yamni is
Arzu.
here.
Hello,
Where did
ma'am.
you do your undergrad from?
I did it from Khalsa College.
So
So
we don't feel totally out of place. Huh?
so we should the teacher is from economics, so it is good. So you were feeling left out. So there is no need for you to be left out.
Looking forward. Sunil should join soon. He's trying
Okay.
to finish his class early today.
Yeah. नमस्कार संदीप जी, कैसे हैं?
जी मैडम नमस्कार, हाउ आर यू?
नमस्कार, बिल्कुल ठीक.
मुझे
So
लगा कि 2:30 में है, मुझे लगा मैंने
नहीं 2:30 पे तो हमारा वो
चलो
सेशन
ठीक
शुरू हो जाएगा. So
जी
ये
मैम.
तो this we have kept at 2 o'clock. I think प्रोफेसर हमारे डायरेक्टर साहब शायद अभी नहीं ज्वाइन करें. He was busy. He said he will join if he's free.
Yeah, he came yesterday only. Then I requested him in the morning and he was
हाँ
talking, he was confused that it's which program. तो मैंने
अच्छा.
बताया कि मृदुला मैम का ही प्रोग्राम है ये.
हाँ. उनको मैंने अभी सुबह भी मैसेज किया था तो he had some meeting I think at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the North
Yeah,
Campus. So I don't know, he is not joined. So anyway, let's start. अगर उन्होंने मुझे कहा था कि मैं कर लूंगा तो ठीक है, नहीं तो नहीं.
ठीक है मैम, you can go ahead.
I think, or should I ask him? He may be busy in the meeting. एक बारी पूछ लेती हूँ, चलो.
एक बार पूछ लीजिए अदरवाइज.
अच्छा सर, तो वेट कर रहे हैं फिर आपके लिए. Okay. I think he said he's joining. So let's wait for
ओके ओके,
another
थैंक
2-3 minutes. So he said he's joining. So we're just waiting for our director, South Campus, to join the inaugural session. सचिन, तुम उनको लेट इन करोगे ना? कैसे करोगे?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just waiting.
मैंने बोल दिया था इन्हें मेरा मैसेज आया है स्टार्ट रिकॉर्डिंग। तो वही तो कह रही सर ने कहा था कि तुम दोनों अलग से कर लेना, जो मतलब इस टाइम जिसके यहाँ प्रॉब्लम होगी तो उसमें से कंटेंट आ जाएगा। ये लिखा है सर ने मोनिका रिकॉर्डिंग।
I think he has joined. Sir has joined.
Not yet come.
क्या
ये निकाल के देना।
अभी देख लो मैं हो रही है, नहीं तो मैं अपने लैपटॉप में वैसे ऑन कर स्टार्ट तो करेगा फिर मैं हो गई तो ठीक। कैसे कर लेना आज होने लगे कर लेना, फिर इसकी भी सही रहेगी, दोनों अपलोड कर देंगे तो दोनों मैं ऑन तो कर लूँ, मेरा ऑन होने वाला है। सर को ये बोल देंगे कि आप चेक कर लो, फिर माइंड से एक से कर लेंगे। और आज ही बीच वाले का माइक भी चेक करना है।
I think अब शायद कर लिया क्या? 44 हो गए participants. नहीं?
नहीं मैम, सर ने तो ज्वाइन नहीं किया अभी।
अनिशा तूने कौन कौन से मॉडल लगाए हैं? कौन कौन से?
सर है
पार्टी
ज्वाइन।
वगैरह कुछ नहीं।
Okay. Has joined. Sir, namaskar. Sir, namaskar. कैसे? Thank you for time. Sir, mute हैं आप.
मृदुला जी,
नमस्कार सर.
मृदुला जी, संजीव जी, सभी को मेरा नमस्ते। मनोज जी नमस्ते।
So,
नमस्कार सर। नमस्कार।
So should we start?
हाँ प्लीज।
या so let's start.
ना मुझे साइंस आती और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं आती।
सर ये साइंस और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स है ही नहीं। आपको पहले बता दें, ये जो हमारी आज की जो मैडम हमारी गाइड हैं जो करेंगी, शी इज अ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी एलुमनाई फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिक्स. She is from Khalsa College, and Yamini is asked me ki can I join this course. I said yes, there is no prerequisite, so you can join. So Yamini is there. Sunil is also there from MBA department.
Now Yamini ma'am cannot say I don't have time.
Yes.
Now I have lots of time.
She can get any time anywhere.
Yes.
If I need, then she cannot say that.
I have lots of time now. So thank you.
Okay. Chalo. So sir, yes, it's a common thing. So let's start. So Sachin, let's start.
Ma'am, incidentally, I have to be there by Patel Chest,
Okay.
quarter to 3, right?
Okay. Quarter to
If you
3.
quarter to 3, if you can just finish my task, then I will be allowed to go.
Yes, तो सर पहले हम बस सचिन शुरू करके पहले आपसे ही बुलवा लेते हैं सर पहले.
ठीक है.
Okay.
Right. So once a new technology rolls over you, if you are not the part of the stream roller, then you are the part of the road. So with these words, let me start. A wonderful afternoon to one and all present at the workshop. I, Dr. Sachin Kumar, on behalf of organizing committee of the workshop, welcome you all to this very interesting and informative one-week self-paced faculty development program on Python programming for electronics. It's a joint initiative of Department of Electronic Science, University of Delhi South Campus, and Training and Placement Cell of Maharaja Agrawal College. This activity is supported technically and financially by IEEE EDS Delhi chapter. This one-week faculty development program is organized to commemorate the century celebration of University of Delhi, 75 years of transistor invention, and launch of new education policy 2020. We are fortunate to have with us Professor Sri Prakash Singh, Director South Campus, University of Delhi, as chief guest of the day. Also, we have with us Senior Professor Mridula Gupta, Head Department of Electronic Science, Professor Sanjeev Kumar Tiwari, Principal Maharaja Agrawal College, and Professor Manoj Saxena, Chairperson IEEE EDS Delhi Chapter. And we have with us the speaker of the day, Ms. Arju Sabharwal, who is a data scientist in IBM. Now, I'd like to request the Principal Sir, Professor Sanjeev Kumar Tiwari, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Sachin. Respected Professor Sri Prakash Singh ji, the Director South Campus, Professor Mridula Gupta ji, Professor Manoj Saxena, Dr. Yogesh Pratap, Dr. Sachin, and dear participants. It's indeed a great pleasure and proud to host you all for this training and one-week faculty development program. Sachin was right when he was talking about the technology, although I'm not also aware about this Python programming, but I'm sure today is the days of the data science. Whatever is happening in our life and wherever we are sharing our contacts, our different type of activities on the Google and other places, somehow as a political scientist, I think that these are related with the data science, and a number of things can be taken out of that, and the predictions can be made on the basis of the data which we are providing to the different technological platforms, what I would like to see. As far as the Python programming is concerned, we had been organizing this type of functions and this type of training programs in our college. And earlier, before this COVID-19, we basically tried to organize some short-term courses in our college, which was a very successful course and very sought-after course. Again, we are planning to do it when the people like Dr. Sachin is there. And moreover, some more experts are there in my college, like Dr. Jiran Mehtai, Mr. Praveen Kant Pandey, and others. They have been doing it very enthusiastically. On this day, when we are going to organize it, and when Professor Sri Prakash Singh sir is having paucity of time because he's already having some engagement in some of the institution of Delhi University. I, on behalf of Maharaja Agrawal College and the organizing committee of this, I welcome you all, and I welcome Professor Mridula Gupta ji also on the behalf of Maharaja Agrawal College. Also, her physical visit in Maharaja Agrawal College is still due because we have been waiting since long time.
Yes, it is still due. Yes.
And Professor Sri Prakash Singh ji is the family members of our college, and today also I was trying to. In the morning also I called him and I emphasized it that you kindly visit to our college, but he remembered that he is having some other commitment in Delhi University. And thank you, sir, for joining us on the very short notice, because you have been already engaged for last 1 week. You were outside Delhi for some official work itself. So today also, I think that this Python programming for electronics will be very useful for the coming week. And once the teachers, they will go out from this, it will be very helpful as far as the FYUP, Delhi University Electronics Department, and the implementation of that is concerned. Welcome you back. Welcome you all on behalf of Maharaja Agrawal College and the organizing committee of this 1 week training program. Welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now I'd like to request Senior Professor Mridula Gupta, ma'am, to give the introduction of this activity.
Respected Professor Director Sir, Professor Shiv Prakash ji, Professor Sanjeev Tiwari, Principal Maharaja Agrawal College, Professor Magno Saxena, Chairperson IEEE EDS Delhi Chapter, Miss Arju Sabharwal, Dr. Sachin and Dr. Yogesh. I won't take too much time because I know Director Sir has to go somewhere. So just I want to give you a brief. Welcome has been given by Professor Tiwari. So this workshop is a part of the centenary celebration of Delhi University and also the 75th anniversary of transistor invention. A few words about department before I just come to the program. This department was established in 1985 and we run two postgraduate programs, MSc Electronics and MTech Microwave Electronics. And we were the pioneers in the country to start this MSc and MTech programs. And aim of these programs is to provide necessary theoretical background and the practical experience to meet the requirements of R&D organizations and the industry. And a lot of our alumni are at very reputed places nowadays in space application places, in DRDO, in other DRDO, other places, and many other private sectors also. Most of our people are in teaching as well as they are also abroad also. So there's this MTech used to be our flagship program and MSc is also our flagship program. And now I think with the Prime Minister's invention of spending a lot of money in the semiconductor fabrication, which was lacking in our country, I'm sure our department will be pioneer in that only. Now, as far as this Python program is concerned, when we were asked to design our course on based upon new education policy 2020. So I gave this task to our undergraduate programs to make the curriculum for our BSc program. And all of them came with a suggestion that at least we should have this program on Python programming. But I know that most of our teachers in the colleges, they don't know Python programming. So I thought, why not at the department level, we start this 1 week program for Python programming so that we can teach our students as what is Python is all about and how is it going to be useful, and then the same they can teach to their students. So this was the motive behind it, and I discussed this program with Dr. Sachin and Dr. Yogesh and Dr. Saxena, and we all came up with this idea. And I'm thankful. This program, I'm not going to give you the highlights of the program. This will be done, but basically it will cover most of the programs in Python programming, functions and applications, and there are going to be 10 lectures of 2 hours, 1 hour each from 26th to 30th September, and in the end we will take one test to check how students have performed. And we have participation not only from it was open to all members from Delhi University, and Professor Yamini Gupta and Professor Sunil from MBA department also joined this program. Just 2 words about today's speaker, Ms. Arju Sabharwal. I will introduce her formally again. She's a data scientist and in advanced analyticals team of IBM. She has worked as data scientist on various projects. She has exposure to various tools like Watson Analytics, Watson Conversation, Watson Assistance, and many more. And she has pursued her graduation and post-graduation in economics from Delhi University only. And she has been a visiting faculty at various colleges like IP College for Women, Jaipuria, and etc. So it's very nice that we have our own alumni from Delhi University who is going to take this course. And without further delay, I request Professor Shri Prakash ji to address the gathering. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mridula ji. Mridula ji, Yamini ji, Manoj, Saxena ji, Sanjeev Tiwari ji, Sachin, and Arju Sabharwal, and all the participants. ये सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के ही हैं मनोज जी, बाहर से नहीं हैं?
So they are from Delhi NCR, and some of them they are from outside also.
Okay.
Maximum sir हमारे colleges के ही हैं
Maximum
research scholars, because we have kept the participation only to 40 this time. Because it's an online session program, so we have kept it to 40.
चलिए, जब कोई अच्छी चीज होती है ना मैम, तो उसको लार्ज नंबर तक पहुंचाना चाहिए.
Sir, we will do another session soon.
Anyway, सभी को सादर नमस्ते. And one girl, Iti Srivastava, is writing on board that I am from
Sultanpur.
है ना? चलिए, Sultanpur is my native place. And Iti
Okay.
namaste. Anyway, whether person like me and Sanjeev Tiwari know nothing about Python, but one thing we can say that data is interested in us. Whether we believe in data or not, but data is for us and for our generations to come. In political science, we have a very popular definition. Whether you are interested in politics or not, but politics is interested in you. The same thing is applied to this data mechanics and data sciences all over the world, that whether you are interested, nobody is interested. If I need something in the evening in form of some meal, I don't care for the data, how it is achieved, how it is ordered, but Zomato works on the data. Swiggy works on the basis of data, right? This artificial intelligence which decides the course of delivery and choices. You just pick your mobile and start searching something. And after a minute or so, you will be flooded with the same kind of advertisements in the system. That means data is interested in you, whether you are interested in it or not. So Python, no doubt, is a new program. When in normal course, son and daughter talks about these programs, तो हम लोग पूछते हैं बच्ची ये क्या, बोला आप छोड़ो ना, आपके काम की चीज नहीं है. You just concentrate on the products only. So person like me, those who have the social science background, might be much interested into the net product of the system, but Python and other data systems which are derived by the artificial intelligence are deriving force to many things in future. And definitely the course of the day with Arju, our participants will be greatly benefited out of it. One more thing, it's a 1 week faculty development program. Why faculty development program? Who is faculty today? If I'm faculty today, suppose I'm a newer one, even then I had a history of 25, 20, 30 years in academia. Then I'm part of the academics as a faculty member. That means my initial knowledge of 10th, 12th and BSc or MSc, what we had, that is of 10 years back. And now from that, that position we come to game theory. In political science, we do have a game theory. That is again part of stats, but we apply game theory basically in strategic aspects. If we call it the zeros sum game today, that means my previous knowledge is not applicable, not much useful to the coming generations. That's why faculty developed programs are conducted all over the country. But onus lies with our faculty. How much they are trying to learn, how much they are putting their efforts in it. Friends, those who have been selected by Mridula ji and her team to be part of this prestigious program of Delhi University, a faculty development program initiated by Department of Electronics, University of Delhi South Campus, then Training and Placement Cell of Maharaja Agrasen College, University of Delhi. You are the lucky one, and please focus and learn. And if at all you have anything left, then try to learn it properly, because opportunities and days will not come back. In your lifetime, 26 September 2022 will not going to come back. 23, 24 will come definitely, but 22 September 26 will never be repeated in your life. You are starting a program, utilize this one for your own betterment, and whatever you will learn, that will go into the benefit of our students, future students of Delhi University and the neighboring institutions. So with these words, I congratulate Professor Mridula Gupta ji, I congratulate Professor Sanjeev Tiwari ji, Principal Maharaja Agrasen College, and I welcome participant like Yamini Gupta ji to this forum also, so that she could be benefit to the other department members of her own department, Manoj Saxena ji and others, and wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Thank you so much. You provided this opportunity to share some of my concerns and my belongingness to the subject. As one thing I can say, Department Electronics and South Campus, all my departments in South Campus are doing great job, and this one department is much more one of the finest departments, where fortunately we have a head like Mridula ji, who is always been taking pain for the betterment of the departments. Friends, definitely some of you might be knowing about this fact that when there was issue of guest faculty, Madam was after us to get those faculty members, so that I know how persuasive she is. With these words, I'll say thank you so much, Mridula ji and Sanjeev ji, having me here in this program. Wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and motivating words. Now I'd like to request Manoj Saxena sir, Chairperson IEEE Delhi chapter, to tell us about the IEEE Delhi chapter and its supports.
Thank you, Sachin. Very good afternoon to Shri Prakash sir and Sanjeev Tiwari ji, as well as Professor Mridula Gupta and all the members who are attending this particular program as part of the FDP. Well, all has been said related to the program and the department. I'm representing the IEEE EDS Delhi chapter, and IEEE is the Institution of Electronic and Electrical Engineers, which was set up way back in 1952. So luckily that we are celebrating the 70th year of establishment of IEEE EDS, and this is the 75th year of invention of transistor also, and as well as the 100th year of the Delhi University's formation. So all things have gelled together. And when this proposal was discussed at our level, we thought that we should go ahead with technically sponsoring this particular event, because EDS has a motto and a vision to organize technical activities to support all enthusiasts who are interested in learning electronics and the electrical side of the devices and its application. And being the 75th year of the invention of transistor, we are going to have for 2 years consecutively, that is 2022 and 23, several programs in which we will be organizing events jointly with the Department of Electronic Science and other colleges where we have physics and electronics departments. And hope that all of you who will be attending this particular FDP program will take a message from my side and can contact either me or Professor Gupta for hosting any such event. So I think it's about time, and Dr. Arzu is also waiting to deliver her opening remarks on the talk. So over to you, Sachin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. So with these words, I would like to first thank our Chief Guest of the day, Mr. Sri Prakash Singh, for joining us and telling us the importance of data and FDP. I'd like to thank Mrila ma'am and Sanjeev sir for constantly motivating us and guiding us for organizing such wonderful activities. Thanks are also due to Professor Manoj Saxena sir for providing us with the financial and technical support of this event. And a big thanks to Ms. Arju Sabharwal for giving her consent to guiding the participants on Python. And we would like to thank all the teachers and researchers for taking out their precious time to join this event and learning the Python. So with these words, I'd like to invite Ms. Arju Sabharwal for guiding the participants on this particular topic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for such a warm welcome. So we'll go ahead and begin the session. The first part of today's session is going to be an introduction as to what is Python, how do we install Python, and what are the reasons why one should know Python. As we have already heard a lot about what data is all about and why data is important. So I'll take you through why Python in particular is important. And then we'll go ahead and we'll begin with the part where we start coding in Python. So I'll start by sharing my screen. Okay, so to begin with, let us try and understand what is Python. Python is an interpreted object-oriented high-level programming language. When we talk about Python, it has a lot of built-in data structures, as I will be showing you once we go to the coding part. It is a very simple, easy to learn language, which is easily readable, and the cost of maintaining this language is super less. So that's the reason why we go ahead and use Python. Python supports various modules and packages. I will again be going ahead and I will be showing you those modules and packages. And it helps us to go ahead and to do various things with Python, like doing basic operations, like going ahead and doing booleans, like going ahead and understanding what is a list, what is a tuple. So there are various libraries in Python which can help us to go ahead and do difficult tasks with much ease. The question is, why should one go ahead and learn Python? First of all, it is a very simple language to learn and it is very easy to interpret. Unlike very difficult languages like C++, Java, etc., Python is very simple and elegant. It's a very fun programming language, and rather than focusing a lot on the syntax, it helps us to focus on the solution. So any individual who is just on the path of learning coding, you can take Python as a great start to go ahead and join a course on Python or to do a journey with Python. The second thing is that it is a free and open source. Now, when we talk about Python, it is freely available, and the point is that you don't have to go ahead and pay anything, even if you're going ahead and using it for a commercial use. When I talk about commercial use, I mean that you don't have to go ahead and pay for it, even if you are doing it for a corporate world, even if you are going ahead and doing it for client projects. So you don't have to go ahead and really pay for this language. Now, there is a large community. So there are channels like GitHub. There are channels like Geeks for Geeks. So there are a large number of communities that are there in Python, which are helping to constantly improve this language. So, any time that you have a doubt, you can go ahead, put that doubt in Python community, and there will be many people who would be readily available to give you solution to that. So we have a large community constantly improving in this language. The third thing is portability. If I write a code in Python, I can easily move from one platform to another and I can run it without any changes. Then it is a high level interpreted language. This means that I can go ahead and I can convert this code into a language which my computer easily understands. I will show you when we create variables, when we go ahead and we write loops, when we go ahead and write list tuples, it is very, very easy to interpret what is what. So in terms of interpretability, it is a very high level interpreted language. There are a large number of standard libraries to solve common tasks. So for a lot of things, we don't have to go ahead and write very hefty codes. Like for example, if we have to go ahead and write a code related to machine learning, any machine learning technique like naive Bayes, like regression model, any technique, it's not more than 3 to 4 lines because of the standard libraries that are available in Python. So because there are standard libraries that are available in Python, therefore it makes it much easier for us to go ahead and write the code to solve the common tasks. Let me give you an example. So consider this very, very simple example. Supposedly, I want to make two variables. The first variable I want to give the value 2. The second variable I want to give the value 3. Then in that case, I will simply go ahead and write A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3. And if I want to add the two variables together, I will make third variable called sum and I will write sum is equal to A plus B. And then I will just get the sum of the two numbers. So you realize how easy it is for me to go ahead and write this code. I just have to give some values to the variables and then I can just simply print that sum. So in that sense, it becomes very easy for any individual to go ahead and write a code in Python. Now, every language has an interpretable that helps us to perform, instruct, or write the script. An interpretable is basically a computer program that helps you to execute the language. Now, the earlier languages that people used to write code in, like for example, Java, would not have an interpreter. However, in Python, we do have an interpreter, and this helps us to go ahead and run all our Python code. So basically, from the side of the technicality, you can consider Python interpreter as an interface between the code and the computer hardware. So you write the code and you get the result. In between, there is a layer, and that layer is called the interpreter. Now, how do I know that an interpreter is working? Whenever you will save any Python file, you will see its extension as .py. That .py, that will basically tell you that there is an interpreter that saw your code, interpreted that code, and then gave you the results of the code. So every language like Python has an interpreter which helps you to interpret the code that you write. Now we'll go ahead and first of all understand how we can install Python. Now different people have different ways of working with Python. I will take you through all of the methods. I will take you through all the different kind of tools that one can run Python on. And then we will go ahead and use one specific tool of Python, which is called Jupyter. So to begin with, you must go ahead and you can look out for Google and you can just open this link that I'm sharing with you in the chat window. So this is the link to Python, and this is a literally everything, where you can find anything to everything about Python on this website. So you can have various documentations about Python. You can look at the community of Python. You can go to the downloads and look at all the different releases that have taken place, and you can just go to all releases. These are the different releases of Python that you have. And now you can go ahead and just click on download Python, and it will go ahead and give you .exe file. Once you click on this, it will ask you to set up Python. So I already have Python with me. So I will not be setting this up, but you can click on install now. Look that it says when you do install now, it includes idle, it includes pip, and it includes a lot of documentations. So you can click on install now, and then the installation process would start. So once you go ahead and you do that, you should be able to see Python in your system. And after clicking on install now, this is how the setup would come. Please let me know if you have any doubts in installing this. So after you have Python in your system, this is how Python 3.7 will come. Please give me a thumbs up, a yes if you're installing it, if it is installed. Should I progress? All of you have this in your system? Okay. Okay, sure. So once you have this Python installed in your system, do give it a check that after installation, when you type Python here, you must be able to see Python coming up here. You can also go ahead and look at your file location where it is saved. So this is where Python gets saved. It's part of my programs. Note that along with Python, I also have something which is known as idle, which is something I will be showing you very shortly. So the installation may take from 5 to 10 minutes depending on how your network is. Now, many people, they directly work with this version of Python. So what they would do is that they will go ahead, and because in Python, I just showed you that there are 3 things which got downloaded. I have Python, I have idle, and I have Python 3.7. A lot of people, they prefer using idle part of Python. Let me show you how idle looks like. So this is where you can go ahead and write codes in Python. Now here we can define any new variable, we can make a list, we can go ahead and we can make, we can just print any command. So this is the screen where you can go ahead and write all your code in, and this is called idle. So, maybe if I can go ahead and say A is equal to 4 or 3, this is it. This is my A, and I can just go ahead and look the value of A, and A is coming as 3. So this is called Python shell or Python idle, and this is one of the easiest way to go ahead and write code in Python. Now, one issue with this idle is that it works very well when we have to go ahead and we have to write a single liner code. But whenever we have to write multiple line codes, then it does not look very well. It does not work very well when we have to write a multiple line code. With single line code, it is a very sophisticated and a very good tool to use. But if my code is a loop, or if my code is more than one line, it becomes difficult for me to go ahead and use this tool. So very, very less used in the corporate world, very less used when we have to write research papers, mostly used only when we are beginning to learn Python as part of understanding what is a variable, how to print any command. In that aspect, this tool can be used. So this is the first aspect of it where you can install Python. Now the second thing that we have to try and see is called Jupyter Notebook. In order to go ahead and install Jupyter Notebook, you can go and in your search command, write CMD and press enter. This is called the command prompt of any system. The command prompt of any system will give you an address of the system. This address of the system is where all your current installations will take place. So if I write a code to install anything, then it would be installed in this location. So the command prompt gives me the location where it would be installed. Whatever I am typing in would be installed. So for example, if I want to go ahead and install a Jupyter Notebook, I will go ahead and say pip install Jupyter. And remember that this pip came because I had installed Python. So when I installed Python, it said that there are 3 things that are going to come with it. it is going to go ahead and it is going to give me idle, it is going to give me pip, and it is going to give me documentations. And the pip part, this is used to install various other libraries. So what am I doing? I am going to my command prompt and I'm saying pip install Jupyter and I will press enter. I already have Jupyter in my system, so it already says that everything is satisfied. So otherwise, for you, it will go ahead and it will install Jupyter in your system. So please go ahead, go to the command prompt and write pip install Jupyter. So are all of you getting this pip is not installed? So this means that there is some issue with your Python installation. Can you see if your Python has been correctly set up? So by default, pip is installed in your, once you install Python, pip comes along with Python. It is part of Python itself. So you please check whether you have Python showing to you as part of your system, and please confirm if you're able to open idle in your system. Are you able to open idle in your system? Okay, then let's go ahead and install pip. So what you can go ahead and do is,
पहले इन्होंने पाइथन इंस्टॉल किया देन आइडल इंस्टॉल किया राइट उसमें आया था मेरे वाले में नहीं आया नहीं एक सेकंड मैंने उसे अनस्टॉल करके फिर से इंस्टॉल किया है। मैंने अनस्टॉल करके फिर से इंस्टॉल किया है। तू दूसरा लैपटॉप ले ही ले, दूसरा लैपटॉप ले ही ले। आरजू सब्रवाल, हाँ, और इको की है, इको की है, इकोनॉमिक्स कर रखी है इसमें। सुन, इसमें नीचे आया था डिसेबल पास लेंस लिमिट, इसे क्लोज कर दूं ना? सेटअप वो सक्सेसफुल आ गया था। ठीक, इसके बाद ओपन करा, कर दिया। आइडियल वाला बताया था उसने, वो देख लिया। यार मेरे वाले की स्क्रीन थोड़ी अलग आ रही है, मेरे वाले की स्क्रीन थोड़ा अलग आ रही है। इधर आ, हो गई मेरी, ये आ रही है।
मैनुअल नहीं खोलना,
मैनुअल नहीं, ये आ गया ना। सॉरी,
मैनुअल खोल रहे थे।
हाँ, उससे वाली स्क्रीन खोल रही, मैंने फिर से
Guys, the speaker is joining in. She has left the meeting because of some technical error. She is joining in the while.
टेक्निकल एरर। आइडियल वाला और हम इसे आइडियल वाली स्क्रीन पे खोलें तो सेम अगर हम लिखें, मतलब सेम आइडियल वाली स्क्रीन चलती है कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट वाली से। ये शेल प्रोग्रामिंग है और ये पाइथन स्क्रीन है। वो आइडियल वाली पे ही करके बता रही थी।
Hi, sorry, I didn't realize I had left the call. Okay. So as I was mentioning that what happens usually why you are not able to see the pip command is because the pip command comes as part of the Python script. So when you go to the Python scripts, the pip command is inbuilt the Python scripts. So in case you are not able to see the pip command, it is fine. I will go ahead and we will install Anaconda, and that will help you to look at the pip command also. So what I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do is, so we had called Python by now. Now we saw what Python idle is. So idle typically provides a code editor, compiler, interpreter, and debugger in just one graphical user interface. So as I was showing it to you, we had these one-line commands that we were able to go ahead and write in idle. This is the way how our idle was actually looking. Now, which are the right idle for Python? Well, it depends on the level of expertise of the professional that you have to keep in mind while choosing the right idle. By idle, I mean, do I want to go ahead and do I want to use the shell, or do I want to go to Jupyter, or do I want to go to Spider? What should I be using? It depends on the level of expertise of the programmer. It depends on the level of industry or sector where Python is being used. It depends on the ability to buy the commercial version or stick to the free ones. It depends on the kind of software being developed. It depends on whether you want to integrate your code with other languages or not. So based on all these points, you will decide whether you want to go for Python shell. Now, there is another tool which is very commonly used, and this is known as PyCharm. We don't use this very commonly in the corporate world. It's because there are two versions of this tool available. One is the paid version and one is the free version. The free version is for the community and the paid version is for the programmers. But the free version does not have a lot of things in it. And therefore, unless you want to go ahead and you want to pay for it for additional features, for integrating it with other tools, it is not a good idea to go ahead and use PyCharm. However, I have gone ahead and I have included the way where you can go ahead and download PyCharm and play around it. So in case you want to look at PyCharm, you can go back and look at this tool also. Whatever code we write today, it can be written in Spider, it can be written in Anaconda, it can be written in Jupyter Notebook, it can be written in idle, it can be written in PyCharm, any of the tool. It is up to you which tool you want to use. And as I specified, which tool you want to use will be dependent on these factors. So this is how PyCharm looks like. This was my paid version of PyCharm. And in this, these are all the projects that I have done in the past where, I have a K-means demo where K-means is a machine learning technique. I have a project where I made a game. I have a Flask tutorial. So these are all the PyCharm projects that I have done in the past. So this is how the screen of PyCharm looked like. Now, let's go to the next tool, as I was mentioning, which is called Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is again an open source web application. It helps you to create and share documents. And this is very, very good in case you want to take your learning to the next level. So in case you want to go ahead and do statistical modeling, you want to go ahead and do data visualization, you want to go ahead and do machine learning technique, then Jupyter Notebook is very user friendly and it has excellent skills of computing things. It does it in seconds. So Jupyter Notebook is an excellent tool to use in that case. Now, how do we go ahead and install Jupyter Notebook? So there are two ways. In case you are not able to go ahead and do through the pip technique, you can go ahead and install Anaconda. So you can just type in install Anaconda and go to this page. Here you can just click on this download. And again, you will have .exe file getting downloaded for you. Once you have this exe file, you can click on it. click on next, I agree, and you will have Anaconda in your system. So just complete this process, and once you do that and type in Anaconda here, you should be able to see Anaconda Navigator in your system. It will take some time for the Anaconda Navigator to initialize. And within Anaconda Navigator, you will be able to see your Jupyter Notebook. So here you will see the Jupyter Notebook which you can launch. There are also other ways to run Python. You can do it in Spider. You can do it in Jupyter Lab. These are all the ways to write code in Python. But we would be working with Jupyter Notebook. I will show you Spider also once. So please go ahead and install Anaconda. Please let me know once you have Anaconda in your system. So the best part about Anaconda is that you are working in cloud. Now, what is a cloud? A cloud is, so all of you would be using iPhone or smartphones, and you would know that whenever you back up your data. So, for example, today I am using OnePlus phone, and tomorrow I want to go ahead to a newer phone. And I want that all of this data that was there in this phone should go to my next phone also. So I will do a backup of this data. Where exactly will I back up my data? I will back up my data in the cloud. So it can be a Google Drive, it can be a Box folder, it can be anywhere in the cloud. And then later I will go ahead and just get my data back from the cloud in the new phone. So this Anaconda, it has this property that you are actually going ahead and using Python in the cloud, which means that you don't even have to go ahead and install separately. Like if you have Anaconda in your system, you don't have to install Jupyter separately. You don't have to install Spider separately. You don't have to install Jupyter Lab separately. All of those things are within Anaconda. It is going to give you access to these different applications without putting these applications in your system. They are there in the cloud. They are not in your system. But once you launch this, you can write the code within Jupyter Notebook without actually having it in your system and write your code in the cloud. This is one good property that we have related to Anaconda. So is it installed for all of you?
ये फाइल हैवी है तेरा हो गया डाउनलोड मेरा भी नहीं हुआ फाइल हैवी है काफी
Okay, no problem. Till the time we are installing Anaconda, let me take you through some of the other, so you can install Anaconda, but let me take you through few of the applications of Python and some of the other very often used terms in Python. So when it comes to using Python, there are a lot of things that we can do with Python. The first is data science and machine learning. In machine learning, we have two kinds of machine learning techniques. One is called supervised machine learning and the other is called unsupervised machine learning. Both these techniques can be easily performed in Python. Then we have web development, where we can go ahead and build a complete website using Python. We can also build a complete game using Python. Towards the second or third lecture, we will actually go ahead and build a small game using the if and else loop. So I will show you how game can be built. We can go ahead and do software development in Python, then desktop graphical user interface, and many other things like artificial intelligence, like automation, like data wrangling. So for example, if I want that everything that is there on a particular website, my system should be able to go ahead and scroll through the entire data on the website, and it should be able to put that in a Word document. I can do that with Python. So data scrapping, data wrangling, exploration, all of that can be done with Python. I will show you towards the fourth or fifth lecture how we can do visualization in Python. Now, you know, in Python and in any other language like R, we have something which is known as a working directory. What is a working directory? A working directory is basically a place where Python saves all your work. So for example, if just consider a basic example. For example, if I just create any file, let's say this is my file and I just want to say hello world. I want to go ahead and I want to save this file. Then by default, my system will give me some location, that this is the location where you will save this file. This location of the file, this is the directory of the file. Just like we have directories where we have phone numbers of every individual, we have address of every individual. Similarly, as the computer saves the file in a particular location, the code also saves the file in a particular location. The location where your file gets saved, that is called the working directory of the code. So the working directory of the file is basically where Python goes ahead and saves all your work. We can go ahead and change the working directory in the Python also, as I will show you once we have Jupyter installed in our system. I will go ahead and show you how to check the current working directory and how to change the working directory. But just for now, remember that working directory is the place where Python is going ahead and saving all the work that you are doing. Whatever Jupyter notebook you're writing your code in, it is getting saved in a particular place, and that is called working directory. There are some more important points which one must understand, and they're very different from other languages. The first important point is that indentation matters to meaning the code, which means that in Python, you cannot just randomly give a space or an enter anywhere. Spaces matter in Python. Where I begin my code from, am I giving a single space or am I giving two space? How am I writing my code? That matters in Python. So, if I just give a single space and I'm writing an if-else loop where I should be giving a double space, my code will not work. So by indentation, I mean the space, and space matters where you press an enter or where you press a space button. The second thing is that, and we will do this in much detail, but equal to and double equal to sign are very, very different thing in Python. And therefore, whenever we use any assignment means whenever we give value to anything, like I gave a value A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2. So whenever we give a value to anything, we must be very clear whether we will be using a single equal to sign or a double equal to sign. So the use of assignment symbols, that is very important in Python, and you cannot just directly use a single equal to or a double equal to. We have to be clear as to which should be used when. Another important thing in Python is called commenting. So, whenever we write any code in Python, we must give an explanation of it. Especially, supposedly, I am going ahead and sending some code to the third person who does not understand what that code does. So for every line of code that I write, I must explain what that line does. And in order to explain that line, I have to make sure that Python does not read it as a usual code and Python reads it as a comment. So to comment out anything in Python, we use hashtag sign. So this hashtag, it is used to comment anything in Python just to make Python understand that this is not a part of code. This is just a comment that I am using and not the usual code. We also have something which is known as Python packages or Python libraries. So what is a library in the general sense? A library is basically a collection of books, right? Anywhere where we see books, it's a library. What does a library help us to do? Well, a library gives us knowledge about different subjects. And when I pick up on any particular subject, it gives me a well-defined information related to everything related to that subject. Exactly same is the role of a Python library. So a Python library is a collection of different modules, and each module has a function to play. So for example, we have various libraries in Python. We have a library that helps us to do statistics. We have a library that helps us to do graphs. Whenever I pick up on any library, I will use that library to do all the programming functions relevant to that library. So there are three things that we usually do while installing library. The first thing is we install library in Python. Installation of library is a one-time task. Once the library is installed in Python, you import libraries. This is a regular task. Every time you want to use a library, you will be importing a library. You can compare this to an actual example in your college. You will build the library once. You will put the books in the library once. But every time you have to read a book, you have to go back to the library and fetch that book. It's just like that. You will install the library once in Python, but you will import the library every time you start writing the code, every time you want to use that library. So every time I want to use a graph, I will import matplotlib. Every time I want to do statistics, I will import stats model. So importing the library is every time task. Installing the library is a one-time task. Now, once you import any library, you also have to go ahead and call library for different tasks. What do I want to do with that library? Do I want to make a bar plot? Do I want to make a histogram? Do I want to make a line? What do I want to do with the library? I have to call the library for the different tasks. So in a gist, a library consists of various modules. Installation of library is a one-time task. Importing the library is an every time task, and within the library there are various modules. I want to call the library for the module that I might be interested in. These are few of the popular libraries in Python. One is called TensorFlow. This is basically used for machine learning, but it is very, very common. The second is called NumPy. This is used to understand matrices.
आवाज आ रही है?
Anu, you're not audible.
मैम एकदम स्ट्रेट बैठी है ना? मैम एकदम स्ट्रेट बैठी है ना? मेरा वो नहीं चल रहा। मैं कह रही हूँ मैम एकदम स्ट्रेट ही बैठी है ना? ये मेरा नेट नहीं चल रहा।
Do we have Anaconda in the system now? Okay, great. So now we can go to Anaconda, and in that we can click on Jupyter and we can say launch. And once you click on launch, you should be able to see all the different files that are there in your system. But since you don't have any file currently saved in your system, you can just go ahead, click on new and click on Python 3. And you should be able to see something like this. This is how a Jupyter notebook would be seen. You can give some name to your Jupyter notebook. So you can say session 1. After that, you can go ahead and you can look here. A Jupyter notebook only works if the kernel of the notebook is active. By kernel, I mean that here you should see that it should be trusted and it should be working. Now, all of you have this part installed. Everybody can see this Jupyter notebook in the system. Okay, so in this Jupyter notebook, you will see file where you can make a new notebook. You can open an existing notebook. You can make a notebook. You can save this. You can rename this. You can save and checkpoint, which means you can save and check whether the entire code is running or not. You can also print your code in case you want to print it. And you can also download this Jupyter notebook. You can download it as slides also, and you will have the slides coming up. You can download it as a PDF. You can download it as a usual notebook. These are the different ways. You can download it as a HTML file. These are the different ways in which you can download this Jupyter notebook. If we go to cell in the Jupyter notebook, it says run cell, which means you can run the cell. It says run cell and select below. So it runs the first cell and then goes to the next cell. Run cell and insert below, which means it runs the first cell and then it inserts a new cell here. Run all, it means it will run the entire command, whatever is there in your Jupyter notebook. Cell type, now this is important. Look that in this cell type, there will be two types of cell. One is the code, where you write the code. Like for example, I can say A is equal to 3. This is a code that I have written. So if my cell type is code, I can use it to write different codes. I can say run and this code would be run. But I can also have my cell type as markdown. This markdown cell type, it means that if you type in anything in this cell, it will go ahead and it will give you that as a comment. So if I go ahead and make this as markdown, notice that no more I can run this cell because it considers this to be a comment. So only if my cell type is a code, I can write a code related to it. But supposedly I want to write, this is my first project. But I don't want this to come as a code. I want this to be written as a part of the paragraph. Then I can just go to this cell. I can go to cell type, and within cell type, I can just say markdown and I can just run this. So this will be a line. It will come as a comment instead of coming as a part of the code. As I just told you that commenting in Python is very important because only when you comment things in Python, you're aware of what that particular thing means. So for example, when I say A is equal to 3 and I want to make sure that I mention to people that this is in fact a comment, I can use a hashtag sign and then I can say that this is the value assigned to A. So hashtag is helping me make the system understand that this part is not a part of the code. This part is in of explanation that what this particular cell is doing. So when I run this cell, it will only run this part. It will not run this part. This is just a commenting that I have done to the system. So commenting can be done in order to explain that particular cell does, or I can change the type of my cell and I can make the type of my cell as markdown. That can also help me to write certain comments. Now with this markdown, I can use some hashtags also. So for example, if I say hashtag, this is a new line, and I run this, it will come in bold. So hashtag, single hashtag helps me to make this bigger. And as I increase the number of hashtags, it makes it smaller. So, if you have to compare, this is a single hashtag. Let's run this. This is a new line. And this, I can say this is the second line. Again, my cell is going to be marked down, and I can just run this cell. And now I can use maybe double hashtag and show this. So it will be a little smaller than this one. The more the number of hashtags you use, the smaller it becomes. This is just used to beautify the entire comment. So it becomes smaller. So it gives you, so for example, when you have to kind of write the entire explanation of what the particular code is going to do, and you have to give titles and you have to give explanations, you can use different hashtags to show the importance of each line. All of these, if you notice, have this with it, and this tells me that it is a markdown cell. It is not a usual cell that I'm working with. Whereas this part, only this is a code that I'm working with, because this is in the code cell. Any doubt in this? I hope all of you have Anaconda by now.
तेरा इंस्टॉल हुआ मनीषा? मेरा अभी थोड़ा सा बचा हुआ है, वो हो ही नहीं रहा. थोड़ा सा बचा है, वो हो ही नहीं रहा. बस चल रहा है.
Yes, so you can go ahead and give hash after 3, but that would mean that hash part is part of the comment. We will go ahead and look at different kind of variables that can be created. So when I say a is equal to 3, the system understands that I am creating a variable which is a number, but 3 with hash. For example, if I go ahead and I say a is equal to 3 and I put hash the spot, the system does not understand the type of the variable. So if I go ahead and I run this, this is not going to be any number, or it is not going to be any integer. But yes, the value would be assigned to a and the value will be 3 hash. This would be taken as comment after I go ahead and I give a space. So here, for example, when I run this and I go ahead and write the value of a, I can type in a and I can just say enter. It gives me that the value of a is 3. Whereas here, suppose let's make this as b. And let's say that I now want to go ahead and I want to check the value of b. It will be 3. So the comment is basically going to be, the hashtag is basically just going to act as a comment and nothing more than that. Any other question? Anything you have? I hope it is installed for everyone now. Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please tell me.
Ma'am, we are facing a problem for in downloading the Anaconda. So can you give a demo again how to download it?
Okay, sure. So what you have to go ahead and do is you have to type in install Anaconda.
Anaconda distributor.
Anaconda distribution, absolutely. And you just have to click on download. So once you click on download, .exe file up.
Ma'am, this page is showing thank you for downloading Anaconda distribution, but after that there is no any other option is there.
You would see .exe file coming up here. You can click on the downloads from top and you would see a .exe file.
Okay, in my downloads.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yeah, wait a minute, ma'am. I'm just checking it. Yeah, no, there's no exe file.
Okay. Then you can just go ahead and launch Jupyter Notebook from here.
Okay. Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Yeah, it's Jupyter is launching. I think it's. Yes. There's a two option, ma'am. One is sign in, other is a register.
You can register, ma'am.
Okay. We have to make a password visible for us. It's a new password, I think.
Yes.
Was installed? Huh? Manisha? Install हुआ? हुआ?
So all of you should have this after you click on after you go to anaconda.com or Anaconda distributor, you should be able to go ahead and install Anaconda. Either you can click on Anaconda distributor or you can go to Anaconda cloud.
Ma'am, after that there is a they need some personal information and for verification, I think. After that they will.
Let me go ahead and give you the direct link, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Here if you click, you will see this download button. Just click
Okay,
on the
okay, okay.
download.
I'm just doing it. Anaconda.
And after you do that,
Ma'am, actually it's showing access denied. So I don't know why it's.
it should be a free tool, ma'am. It should not give you any access issues there.
But when I'm clicking this your link, it's showing the access is denied. So Oh, I don't know. It's a pay.
Maybe, Sarika, maybe you are having some restrictions on your network and that's the reason you are not able to download and install the tool. So maybe you are using some restricted network, so that may be the reason.
Okay, sir, I don't know. 1 minute.
Because see here, it is Anaconda distribution is an open source repository, so it comes free of cost for all the individuals. Can you try with this link once, maybe? Let me share this link as well. If not, if this link is not working, maybe you can just type in yourself, just type in Anaconda distribution, Anaconda, install Anaconda. You will get the first link itself in Google and you just have to use that link. If it still does not work for today, you can go ahead and you can do everything in IDLE also. The code that we are going to do is going to be very simple. So IDLE can also be used to write the code. And additionally, you
Okay,
can
ma'am.
go and
If
install the
I'm
Python.
clicking the option of Anaconda distributor, there is an option is coming download. So I am trying to download this.
Okay.
Okay, so after that I have to click the get started button.
Yes, right.
Okay, but
What
ma'am,
I'll
there is
do
also
also for
coming purchase this web dev startup and custom and all. So
what I'll also do is for an easy transition for tomorrow, I will go ahead and share all the links with you to install Anaconda, Python, Jupyter
okay,
Notebook in the
ma'am.
system so that you also have it from the next session.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So I will share this PPT with you. It has step-by-step as to how you can go and install Anaconda, which version can you take, and what are the steps that you will see. So ideally, by the end of it, you should be able to get this screen where it says Anaconda Navigator. First, you will go to Anaconda, do all the, you'll say, I agree, click on OK, and you will say install Anaconda. After you have this .exe file, and post that, you should be able to get a navigator. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, going back to what we were doing. So, whenever you click on Anaconda Jupyter Notebook, when you click on this in the navigator, you will get something like this. In this, you just have to click on Python 3. And when you will click on Python 3, that is where you will see a new file coming up. You have to check that the kernel is ready. In that, you can give any name to your file. And this is where you can write all your code. So to begin with, we can go ahead and we can write the first of our codes where we want to make a very simple variable. I just want to make something which is known as A, and I just want to give it a value, let's say 2. So I can just say A is equal to 2. This arrow is used, when you click on this arrow, this cell will run. You can also click on this run button and this cell will run. You can also go to cell, click on run cell, and the cell will run. You just have to click here, and after you click here, this cell has been successfully run. We have already ran this cell. Now, how do I know that it's successfully done? Because if I want to go ahead and I want to just type in A and I run this cell, it gives me a value 2, which means that this part where I gave the value to A as 2, this was successfully established, and that is why here when I just typed in A and entered, the output was 2. So this tells me that it is running successfully in my system. So you can go ahead, create different variables and give them different values and try. So just try and give B as a value of 4 and run this. And once it runs, it will give some cell number to the cell also. So the cell gets the number 4. And now you can again go ahead and check whether the value was assigned to B or not. So currently this cell has not been ran because you see there is no number given here. But once I click on this, it gets a number 5 and the value that it gives me is 4. So now I know that this cell has been successfully ran and the value attached to this cell is 4. Okay, please try this once. Keep posting any doubts or any comments that you have. Now, let us go to what I was explaining you about the working directory. So I told you that a working directory is any place where Python is going to save all your work. Just like whenever you make any file, you have to save that file. When you are writing anything in Word, when you're writing anything in Excel, you go ahead and you save your file. Just like that, whenever you write any of your code in Python, it must be saved somewhere, and that is called working directory. So what do we go ahead and do? We want to go ahead and look at the working directory of our system. In order to look at the working directory, we want to go ahead and we want to import something which is known as OS. OS stands for operational system, where all my work would be saved. So I just go ahead and I say import. I just type in os.get current. C stands for current, W stands for working, D stands for directly. So in my operating system, get me the current working directory, which means get me the place where all my files would be saved. And if I run this, this is my current working directory. So get CWD, it helps you to get the current working directory of the project, which means by default, whatever file I am making here, whenever I am going ahead and saving this file is going to get saved here. By default, whenever I have to import any Excel file, whenever I have to work with any of the data set, that data set should be available in this place where I want to work with. So this becomes my working directory. I can also go ahead and change this directory to any other address. So for example, if I just want that, I don't want to get everything saved in this folder FDP, and rather I want to go ahead and in my desktop, I want to make a new folder supposedly. And let me name this as FDP1. And I want that everything in my system should be saved in this FDP1. Then I can go ahead, look at the properties of this, this folder that I have created. This is the address of this folder. It is in C, user, then my name, and then desktop. So it is saved in the desktop. And the name of the file is FDP1. So this is the complete address of this folder. C, user, Arzu, desktop, FDP1. So what do? If I want to change my working directory, I will go back here and I will write the address of the new folder in which I want to save all my, all my files in. So here I will just say FDP1. And if I go ahead and I write this comment, and now I check what my working directory is, my working directory would change to FDP1 folder. So CH stands for change, DIR stands for directory. I'm going into the operating system. and I'm going ahead and I am changing the working directory to a new folder by giving the address of that new folder. And when I check the working directory now, it is a new working directory to work with. So I can say that here I am changing the working directory. So you see, comments are very important because that helps me to understand what is the role of a particular code. Just try this once. No, ideally we do not set a working directory every time we run the code. In case I want to change my working directory, I will do it. Most of it, because all my work at least is in the same folder, so I don't kind of change my working directories in the middle of the code or whenever I start running Jupyter Notebook. But of course, if you have, for example, if you have different classes, and you're saving it for different students, semester 1, semester 2, you may want to go ahead and put it in different folders, and you may want to have different working directories. Okay. So I hope all of you are able to follow this part where we are setting the working directory. Any doubt in this? Okay. So now we will go ahead and we will talk about library as I was just mentioning it to you. So as I mentioned to you, a library is basically a collection of different modules. Whenever we install any library, the aim of the library is to be able to do a set of things. Like for example, to be able to do data visualization or to be able to kind of, do some machine learning techniques on it. Now, doing a library, installing a library has three aspects to it. The first is that you install a library, that's a one-time task. The second is that you are importing the library, which you will do every time. And the third is that you will call out library for different tasks. So installation is basically something where I would be, I will show you how to do it, but I won't be required to do installation because I have been using these libraries for a large amount of time in the past. So in order to install library, we just have to use the same command, pip install pandas, and it will help me to install pandas. As I told you, pandas is one of the libraries that we would be using on day 5. But for now, we just have to understand what is the meaning of a library and how to install and import it. So installation is a one-time task. When I tried installing pandas, it showed me that the requirement is already satisfied and that it is already available in my system. Now, if it is already there in your system, you just have to go ahead and import that library. So I am going ahead and importing pandas. Now, it is a good practice that whenever you import any library, you give it a short form to use it in the future. So for example, if I have to use pandas, I will import pandas as PD. So tomorrow, if I have to write any code, I will simply say pd.csv. I will not go ahead and use the complete word pandas everywhere that I have to call this library. I will just say PD. Similarly, if I have to import NumPy, for example, this is another library. I will just say import NumPy as NP, import NumPy as NS. Now, when I go ahead and I give a short form to the libraries, it just enables me to use those shorter forms in the future without going ahead to the full complete version of those libraries. So every time I have to call NumPy, I will just write NP. I don't have to write NumPy completely. Every time I have to call pandas, I will just say PD. Similarly for matplotlib, I will just say MLT. So every time I have to call matplotlib, I will use a short version. So there are two things that we are doing. One is the installation and the second thing is the importing of the libraries. Once the library is imported in your system, you can go ahead and use it for any purpose, whatever their suitable purpose is. So to give you an example, let me take you through one of the uses of these libraries. This is a sophisticated tool, code, but I will try to show you how we use the libraries. So you see this. I went ahead and I imported some libraries like NumPy, like Panda, like Matplotlib, like Seaborn. These libraries have different functions, which is something we will discuss. But once I import these libraries, which I will do at the beginning of every code, I can call out these libraries for different uses. For example, here I'm calling out a library called Seaborn to make a graph. For example, here again I am calling the library Seaborn to make a graph. For example, I am calling out the library Pandas to read an Excel file. So the different libraries have different functions. You can go ahead and read an Excel file, you can make diagrams, you can make matrices. All of that is possible only after you have imported a particular library in your system. Please, okay. These commands are case sensitive. Yes, they are case sensitive. So, you know, if we write pandas with a small p, we have to follow that method of writing it with a small p. We cannot replace it with a capital P. So for example, this is not the right way to write the code. We will try and use this only. Okay. Now let us go ahead and move one step ahead and talk about another important aspect in Jupyter, which is called keywords. When we talk about keywords, these are some built-in words which are there within Python. Now, these keywords are the words which I would not want to use generally because they mean something in Python. So for example, let's say that I import keyword and now I am saying keyword.kwlist, which means from the imported keywords, give me the list of the keywords. So I just go ahead and I click on this and it gives me a list of different keywords that are there in Python. These keywords are already there in Python and they may mean something. For example, false is a Boolean keyword. It means negative. It means that this is not true. So it cannot be used generally. It means something in Python. Similarly, true means something in Python. Break is used as part of the loop. So it means something in Python. Del is used to delete something. It means something in Python. Elif is used for loop, else if. So it means something in Python. So all the keywords, these are the set of words which are inbuilt in Python. And whenever you go ahead and you write a code, you have to be very sure of not using these keywords just as is. Because, you know, when I assign maybe a variable the value false, it means that it will always mean the false given by Python. It already has a pre-built meaning attached to it. So the keywords, they have pre-built meaning attached to them. And hence they cannot just be used very freely. Now you can also check whether whatever string you are trying to use, is it actually an existing keyword or not. So I'm just trying to use this thing, keyword, which I imported. And from the list of those keywords, I'm checking is keyword, which means is this a keyword or not? And I'm giving the keyword as try. And when I run this, it gives me true, which, so true already had a meaning that true means yes. So which means that try word is in fact a keyword that Python already uses. So I'm asking, is try a keyword used by Python? And it is telling me that yes, it is a pre-built keyword. So tomorrow, if I want to name any random string, just say for example, I want to use house, and I just say, okay, it gives me false, which means house is not a defined keyword in Python, but try was a defined keyword in Python. So when we will start writing the code, we must keep in mind that sometimes, it happens a lot that few of the people are trying to give a variable value of true and false, and they might see some kind of error coming up while they use it in their code. It's because that true or false means something already in Python. So while using the code, we must be aware of the keywords that are predefined in Python. Okay. Let's see. PD, NP are user defined? No. Okay, the short forms, yes. But, we already have, I can say, a practice of using PD or NP. So I can go ahead and I can import NP, NumPy as NS also. But the way that we write code, it has been defined since so long that everybody has been using by default NP, that we use NP. But no, it is not the case that I always have to use NP. I can define it myself. It can be a user defined thing also. Okay, the next thing is there is no module named keywords. Did you try importing keywords? You have to first import keywords and then only it will work. If it still does not work, it means that keywords were not installed in your system, which is very rarely the case because it comes pre-built with Python. But if that is the case, then you can do pip install keywords and that would be installed in your system. Can we also define our own keywords? We can define our own keywords. In fact, that is what is called a dictionary. So we can have a list of our own keywords, but Python will not attach any meaning to it. I can attach a meaning to my keyword, but by default, Python will not understand that with some meaning. Whereas the keywords that are given by Python will have a meaning. For example, the break keyword in Python actually means where is here? So the break keyword in Python, this actually is, this is not the usual breaking of a glass. This break is used inside a loop. So this break has a meaning assigned by Python. So whatever keywords are here have some default meaning given by Python. I can define my own keyword and I can attach a meaning to it, but that would be my own dictionary of the words and that will be covered under dictionary. Okay, now let us go ahead and try to write the first kind of code, and this is the code of printing anything in Python. Now before I go to printing of any command, I just want to kind of highlight to you that whenever we write anything within inverted commas, it is called a string. We will be talking about string in much detail a little later. But whenever I write anything within inverted commas, for example, I say hello world, this anything within the string, within the inverted commas, this stands for a string. And the first ever task that anyone is given, whether it is in Java, whether it is in C++ or any other language, is to write a basic code of going ahead and printing the command. In order to print the command, we just say print, and in bracket, we will write hello world, and we will just go ahead and run this command. And my output will be hello world. This means that I am simply asking my system to go ahead and print this thing. Now, one good aspect here is that you may not always use a single inverted comma for string. Even if I go ahead and I use a double inverted comma, it works very well. Even if I go ahead and I use triple commas, it works very well. So all these, as long as it is in these inverted commas, it means that it is a string. And by string, I mean that in layman's language, it is just a line of, a line or a paragraph. If I want to print any line or any paragraph as is, then I will just use the command print. The command print is a very, it's a very usable kind of command, because it's not only going to be used to write the strings. It can be used even if I want to go ahead and I want to print any variable, even if I want to go ahead and I want to print the sum of two things. So print is used whenever I want to receive any output from my system. Here I just wanted the output to be this line hello world. So I just used print with hello world. But we will see how this print can perform a lot of functions as we use this command within loops and we use this command for different variables. Please try this one. Try to write your name or try to write any variable within the print and just print that once.
Is this one raise of hand?
Yes, please.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, when I'm running on the Jupyter notebook, so when you're running each line one by one, so there is a run command just next to one line, next to your line. So that arrow key, but which it is not visible on my notebook. This, yes, ma'am. So from where I can get it, because I'm not able
to and run this.
Ma'am, I'm running this, but this print is not, the command that hello world will not, is not getting print on my, this window. Suppose I'm writing a equal to 3. So if I run, so it is coming to the next line, but if I write a, then it is getting printed. So.
Okay, correct. So basically when we write a is equal to 3, it just says that I am creating, and I'll talk about variables just in a while. It just says that I am creating a variable a which takes the value 3. But it does not says the system to show me this a. So when I run this, it will just run this command. It will not give you any output. In order to check the output, you either must ask the system to print the value of a, or you must just type in a and then it will give you the output as 3. So if you're just trying to do this much, it will not return anything in return, because this just means that I am assigning the value 3 to a, but I'm not getting anything as, I'm not asking the system to print that.
Thank you.
Okay. So if this makes sense, then we should go ahead and we should look at defining a variable. So basically, whenever we talk about a variable is any unique name that I am giving to a particular value. A variable can be considered as a container. And, if I say a is equal to 2, it means that I have created a container. That container is a. and it consists the value equal to 2. So a variable is like container which holds a particular value. Now just consider that if you have a container which consists a ball, and on that ball you have written 4. At any point of time, you can take that ball out, you can put another ball in with a number 5 written on it. And then that container will contain a ball with number 5. Just like that, a variable can be replaced by any other number at any point of time. So if I say a is equal to 4 and then I write a is equal to 5, it gets replaced with a is equal to 5. So variable are, they can be changed, they're replaceable. And the variables, they do not really go ahead and they do not reserve any memory space in Python. So these are the examples of the variables. Whenever I have to create any variable, I must use an assignment operator. Assignment operator is the is equal to sign. And this helps me tell the system, when I say a is equal to 4, it means I am assigning a the value of 4. But it may not be the case that I will always assign a number to the variable. I can assign an integer to the variable. I can assign a string value to the variable. So my variable can go ahead and it can be any value. It can be google.com. It can be yahoo.com. It can be 4. It can be 10. Just make sure that whenever you have a string value, whenever you want to assign any alphabet to the variable, make sure that it is in the inverted commas, because you are mentioning to the system that this is not a number, this is not numeric, this is a string, this is a paragraph, or this is a line, or this is a word. So it must be there within inverted commas. Now let us just go ahead and try to create some variables. So this is where I have gone ahead and I have given some variable value. So I said s is equal to 10 and I just ran s and it gave me 10. Alternatively, I can also go ahead and I can print the value of s. And when I print the value of s, I'm going to just say print s and it gives me 10. So the variable is basically assigned that s will take the value 10 and then it is just printing that value. Now, I just told you that we can change the value of the variable. So let's say I create another cell here and I give the value of s as 11. I run this command. And now when I will print the value of s, it will give me the answer as 11. So which means that I can go ahead and I can change the value that I assign to the variable, and accordingly the variable will keep saving the new value. It will keep editing the value to the newer value. Okay, any doubt in this? No, variables do not only take number, we can go ahead and we can give variables strings also. So I can go ahead and I can say let's take s only, and I can say let s be and I just have to put this in the inverted commas and I have to run s and it will be my first project. So need not be necessary that variables will be always numbers. They can be anything other than number also. Now let us go forward with the different kind of numbers that we may have in Python. And in a while, I'll come back to constants also. So types in Python can be divided in number, collection, callables, and others and internals. To start with, the first most important thing that we may want to try is numbers. In numbers, we have various type of numbers that Python defines for us. We have integers, we have float values, we have complex numbers, we have booleans that are defined within Python. Let us try to look at whether a particular number is given the value as integer, float, or complex. Integer and float are very, very similar, other than the fact that in integer, we don't have the presence of decimal, whereas in float, we have the presence of a decimal. So whenever I will give my variable the value as an integer, it will be 5. But 5.1 can never be an integer. 5.1 will always be float. So whenever it is a decimal, it will be float. Now, in case I want 5 also to be saved as a decimal, it will be saved as 5.0. So floating numbers are with decimals. Integers are without decimal points. We also have complex numbers, and complex numbers are of the form x plus I y or x plus jy, where this I is called iota, or it's the imaginary part. So you would have seen complex numbers in maths. It's just replicating those complex numbers here. So a plus b iota, a plus bj, all of these are complex numbers where we have some imaginary part attached to them. There are two additional commands here. One is known as type function and the other is known as isInstance. When we talk about the type function, it is used to understand what is the type of a particular variable. Is it integer? Is it float? Is it complex? Is it string? What is the type of the variable? Is it going to be a list? Is it going to be a tuple? What is that going to be? That is given by the type of a variable, the class that it belongs to. Additionally, sometimes we use isInstance, and isInstance is used to check if something belongs to a particular class. So if I say a dot isInstance complex, it means I want to check whether a is a complex number or not. And when I say a dot type, I want the system to tell me what is the type of a. So type will help me get the answer for what is the type of a variable, and isInstance, it will help me understand what is whether, when I pass on a particular type, whether it belongs to that type or not. So let us go ahead and look into this. So have a look here. I have gone ahead and created a number a, and a is 5, not 5.0. So I just create this number. And now I want to check the type of a. So I just say type a, and it tells me that the type of a is int. It means that a is a number and its type is an integer. Now here I've just tried to show how we can go ahead and we can use the print command. So for example, if I want to write a complete statement that print a is type of, and then print the type of a, when I run this, it will give me a. What was the value of a? 5. So 5. This is the string that I wanted to pass as is. So is of type. And then type of a was integer. So it passed the integer class int. Now you can try it for different values. So just let's keep this as b so that we have different types. Just give b as 2.0 and check the type of b. So it will say 2 is of type int class int. So this is, oh, here I want b. It should be float. So here I will get float. So basically each of the number has a type to which it belongs. If it is without decimal, it is integer. And if it is with decimal, it is float. Now, I can also go ahead and I can also create a complex number. So I can say A is 1 plus 2 iota or 2j. The type of, let's say, A, it will give me the answer as complex. So this is how you can go ahead and use your type function. This will tell you whether it is complex or not. So when you will run this, it is coming as true, which means that it is complex. When I will run this A, it is coming as true, which means it is complex. Supposedly, I want to check whether B is complex or not. I will go ahead and type this in as B, and I will just say run, and it is giving me the answer. And false. These are the different kind of numbers that you may have. Now, you may also go ahead and you may want to check the type of a string also. So if I say S is equal to hello, and let's say I want to just check the type of S, it comes as str. Str means it is a string. If I just pass in any string value and I just want to check what is the type of the string, I can just pass in this and it tells me string. So I can directly pass in a string, check the type of the string. I can make a variable and check the type of the variable. I can ask the system whether the variable is a particular type or not. Then you also have something which is called as Boolean. Boolean is the true or false statements. Now you would know from here that, the system uses true and false for a particular reason. Here, true actually means something, and true means that yes, it is a complex number, or false means that no, it is not a complex number. So the true or false statements do mean something, and therefore it is a part of the keyword. It is attached with a particular meaning within Python. So here, let's try for booleans now. I want to check whether a particular number is greater than the other number or not. So I'm just saying print 6 greater than 4. I try to run this and it gives me true. So I will talk more about these operators later, but for now, it means that it is able to identify the statement and it is able to give me a true or a false answer. I can also convert one type of variable into other type. For example, I have a variable A and its value is 10.76. I clearly know this is a float variable. So if I go ahead and I want to check the type of A, so if I go ahead and I want to check the type of A, I will get the answer as float. But I can go ahead and change its type to integer also. So I can go ahead and say that, okay, I want to create a new variable B. This variable B will go ahead and make the variable A into an integer. So I can simply say int A, and when I run this and print B, it gives me the value 10. So it is converting 10.76 into an integer by removing the decimals altogether and giving the answer as 10. So one variable type can be converted into other variable type also. Any doubt in this? Yes.
Ma'am, it will not round up this value. It was 10.75.
Right.
Now it is 10.
Correct. So no, it won't round off. We have a command for rounding off the variables, but when we convert one variable type to the other, it is not going to round off. It is always going to take the minimum value.
Okay. Thank you.
Fine. So now you can also go ahead and do some operations in Python. For example, let's take two variables x as 15 and y as 4. Then I can go ahead and I can add the two variables together. I can subtract the two variables. I can multiply the two variables. I can divide the two variables. I'll talk about this in a while. This is double division. So, we'll talk about how remainder and quotient works in this case. And this is the making one variable to the power of the other variable. So there are various arithmetic operations that we can go ahead and perform in Python. So let me just begin with the first one. The first one is going ahead and saying you took the variable x and y, and now you're going ahead and adding x and y together. And after adding x and y together, it is giving you an output, which is nothing but it is x plus y. So it is just adding x and y together, and this is the answer. In simple terms, you can just go ahead and also try like this, x plus y. And when you run this, it will give you the output as 19. So given two variables x and y, you can go ahead and you can add the two variables together. Now, you can also go ahead and you can subtract the two variables. So for example, I can do x minus y. I can run this and it will give me 15 minus 4. I can also multiply the two variables together. So I can say x multiplied by 4, x multiplied by y, and it will go ahead and multiply the two variables together. So for example, I will just pick it up from here because my multiplication key is not working. I'm so sorry. So when I do this, it is going to go ahead and it is going to multiply the two variables together. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all of this is possible with the help of Python. These are all the basic arithmetic operations that we can perform with Python. X divided by y and it will give me 3.75. Now this is very interesting. If I go ahead and I use a double division sign, it is going to go ahead and it is going to give me the quotient, not considering the complete division. So for example, when you divide 9 by 2, we know that the closest that I am there is that 2 into 4 is 8 and plus 1 is the remainder. So the highest that I can completely divide it by will be 4. So this is what it is giving me here. It is going to give me the quotient It's not going to consider the remainder. So the closest complete division possible, that is what we get when we use the double division sign. And at last, you also have a power sign. So you can have x to the power y. And this is going to give you 19 to the power 4. So this will be 19 into 19 into 19 into 19, and this is what the answer would be. So these are some of the basic arithmetic operations that you can perform using Python. Any doubt in this? Anything you think is not clear? Okay, so I'd like to stop here for today, and tomorrow we'll go ahead and we'll continue with the other operations in Python.
Right. So we are done with the today's session, and tomorrow we'll be joining again at 2:30. So I request all the participants, I've dropped the link for the chatbot WhatsApp group of this particular workshop. So you can click the link and join the group to get the latest update about the event. And now I'd like to thank our speaker of the day for providing such a good insight into this particular workshop and
मनीषा यहाँ से
guiding
स्क्रीनशॉट ले
us
लियो
about installation and everything. So
यहाँ से
we will
स्क्रीनशॉट
be
ले लियो
hearing her tomorrow as well.
So I just like to kind of highlight that because a lot of time got wasted in the beginning installing Python, maybe we can go ahead and I can send some links so that you have Python by tomorrow for sure. Additionally, I will go ahead and share these Jupyter notebooks so that you can try and run these commands that we did today. Also, I will share the presentation with you so that you can have a look at that presentation for the day. And, in case we feel that, because, I am short of what we had to do today. So in case we feel that we are not able to finish whatever was scheduled, we'll go ahead and extend the session by half an hour maybe. And we'll keep 2.5 hour session for the later days to finish off the course. Because I feel that, for today, we kind of missed on the first 1 hour. So we can try and take that forward in the next 4 days.
All right, so I guess you can share those links with me and I'll be sharing all the links on the WhatsApp group.
Sure.
And also we have recorded this session, and those who could not attend or those who missed some part of it because of some technical errors or some internet connectivity, so they can access the same using that link. Right, so we'll be sharing the link of the video by on the WhatsApp group only. So now may I request all the participants to turn on their camera so that we can click a picture of all the participants. Please turn on your cameras quickly. Yeah, so I guess there are 40 participants, so I need to take pictures in 3-4 goes. So that one is done. Thank you.
So I hope the session was it was quite interesting. I was also listening throughout. So maybe the coming sessions will be more useful. Okay.
Right, ma'am. So I guess we can close for the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Arju.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
आज ये नहीं हुआ होगा ना, फिर डांट पड़ जाएगी। यार ये बंद नहीं हो रही, मिनिमाइज नहीं हो रही वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग वाली। तुझे पता है कैसे होएगी? तेरे वाले में तो ऑप्शन आ रहा था। नहीं, ये वीडियो स्क्रीन चल रही है, बंद कैसे होएगी?
वो खोलो स्नैगेट, स्नैगेट खोलो का।
मेन स्क्रीन में तो खुल नहीं रहा ये।
इससे किया था आपने स्टार्ट?
अरे स्क्रीन पे वो आती है ना, वन क्लिक स्टार्ट वाली।
हम्म,
वन क्लिक स्टार्ट वाला स्क्रीन पे आता है ना।
यहाँ पे करो एक बार।
नहीं हो रहा उससे, कुछ देख लिया। कुछ नहीं हो रहा इससे।
अभी भी रिकॉर्ड हो रही है तो गूगल पे देख लो।
हाँ।
आपने क्या लिखा? हाउ टू स्टॉप स्नैगेट वीडियो, वीडियो को खोलो यूट्यूब।
शिफ्ट F10 फॉर विंडोज।
रहने दो, ऐसे नहीं, पहले वीडियो देख लो, जिसको यूट्यूब पे देखो एक बार। लास्ट में कर देना इसको, कर दो, लास्ट में ले लो।
ये कौन सा वाला वर्जन है स्नैकेट का? ये वाला भी यही आएगा।
ये कर दिया तो उसके बाद ये किया,
मेरे वाले में ये नहीं आता, रिकॉर्ड का ऑप्शन आता है।
कोई नहीं आगे तो
तेरे वाले पे तो स्टॉप यहीं से हो जाएगा ना। तो स्टॉप यहीं से हो जाता है। शिफ्ट प्लस F3 क्यों कोई